Welcome to Euroforum UG, where we address Ugandans from Europe, USA, Asia, Africa, Australia, and all over the globe. We share experiences, opinions, and expertise on current affairs, educative lifestyle, religion, and family matters. Follow, subscribe, and like our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Euroforum UG. You can also join our live shows every weekend on our social media platforms. For more information, visit our social media platforms or email us at euroforumug@gmail.com or WhatsApp us on +4740 574040. Euroforum UG, communicating with peers.
Hello to everyone who is watching us. You're welcome to Euroforum UG. Today we're going to talk about coffee, which is a traditional crop here in Uganda, and all of you know it. So you're welcome. We have our guest, who is Mr. Kalyango Musa, who is a farmer, who is a trader, but he will also tell us more about himself as we delve into the coffee conversation. In case you have any questions that you would want to know about coffee, you can send them in the chat. We'll keep reading them. Yeah, so you're welcome to yet another episode of the Euroforum UG. Mr. Kalyango, I don't know if we can let you. Good afternoon. I don't know what time it is over there in Denmark, but good afternoon. Good evening, actually, from Uganda.
Yes, Nyawo, good evening to you. It is just a difference of 1 hour now that we are in summertime, and it is still bright outside.
We cannot hear you, Mr. Kalyango.
Oh, but my
I don't
phone...
know if you're muted.
No, I'm not actually. I'll try to see, but I don't... Can you hear me? Hello?
Good evening, Mr. Kalyango.
Yes, please, Sarah. I can hear you live and clear. I can hear you. I don't know if our viewers...
We cannot seem to hear you, but for anyone watching us on the show, yeah, we're going to talk about coffee. And to give you some of the statistics about this, our traditional crop, last year we overtook Ethiopia. We became the biggest exporter in Africa. We exported 8.4 million bags of coffee last year, which made us the biggest exporter. So coffee is still one of our export earners here in Uganda. And then also it's followed by it follows gold, which is now the leading export earner. Yeah, but coffee is still the agriculture leading export. So, and then for last month, if I can give you some of the figures from last month, we exported 651,060 kilo bags of coffee, which were valued at 180 million US dollars. That's around 660 billion Ugandan shillings. That's in the month of February. That's the latest report from the Ministry of Agriculture. That's what they show. So coffee still remains the biggest export, one of the biggest exports here in Uganda. So that's why we thought that we can talk about it and see if you are Ugandan in diaspora, if it's your parents who grow coffee down in Bukoma, Simbi, in Mount Elgon, how can they benefit from this coffee? And how does our coffee come to go to Europe, which is our biggest market for our coffee. How does it get to go there, and how is everyone along the value chain benefiting? So that's how we have Mr. Kalyango. Mr. Kalyango is one of the people who are interested in our coffee. They're selling it to the European market. So he will tell us more. If you're out there and you want maybe to start this business of selling our coffee, how do you come in? What do you need to know about this coffee business? So I don't know if he's on now. The last time we were not hearing him, then we can start the conversation. Mr. Kalyango, are you able to hear us now?
Hello, can you hear me?
Welcome to Euroforum UG, where we address Ugandans from Europe, USA, Asia, Africa, Australia, and all over the globe. We share experiences, opinions, and expertise on current affairs, educative lifestyle, religion, and family matters. Follow, subscribe, and like our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Euroforum UG. You can also join our live shows every weekend on our social media platforms. For more information, visit our social media platforms or email us at euroforumug@gmail.com or WhatsApp us on +4740 574040. Euroforum UG, communicating with peers.
Welcome yet again. Sorry for the technical glitches. I didn't know I was muted. Yeah, but welcome from everywhere you're watching us from. It's a good evening here in Uganda, and we are happy to have you on the coffee conversation. As I'd said before, coffee is one of our biggest exports here in Uganda, second to gold, which is now like the leading. Coffee, last year, Uganda became the leading exporter. In Africa, we export the most. We overtook Ethiopia, which has been the leading for very many years. And for a record, last year we exported 8.4 million 60-kilogram bags to the world. And yeah, so it shows that we are really doing well. And the reason we're having this conversation today is to know if you're a farmer down in Bukomansimbi, down in Butambala, how do you come in this coffee business? What do you need to know if you want to sell your coffee to Europe? What do you need to know? And that's why we have Mr. Kalyango, who is in the business of coffee, who has been dealing in coffee. He will tell us more about himself to let you know what do you need to know about the coffee business. And as Ugandans, as a farmer, what do you need to improve? How do you come into the picture? Because if we earned 8.4 trillion from coffee, how do you benefit from this? A lot of money. So that's how we get to Mr. Kalyango. He will tell us more about himself. So Mr. Kalyango, you're welcome. It's a good evening here in Uganda. I don't know how you are. You can say hello to our viewers.
Yes, good evening, Nyawo. I hope now you're hearing me.
Yeah, now I can hear you so well.
Okay, that sounds good. As I was saying previously, that there's only a difference of 1 hour. So there's not so much difference between now Uganda and Denmark at the moment, given the fact that it's now summer. But I would like to start by giving a little bit of a recap how I entered this business. As we all know, in Uganda, most families, we've been raised, we went to school because of coffee. Coffee has always been one of the biggest ways of earning in every family, as I can tell, as I can remember. Now, coming here to Denmark, these cold countries, actually, they consume a lot of coffee. and coffee is part of their cultural values. You find people going on dates and then they just have a cup of coffee. You find people when they lose their beloved ones ending up taking a cup of coffee. So you find coffee in each and every aspect of life. Due to the coldness, people take coffee. When it's warm, people take coffee. And now even they have introduced this coffee that can even be taken during summer. So you get your caffeine, but in a cold form. So it's like coffee is each and everywhere. In every aspect, you can have it. Now, before I go as far as telling you how I landed into this, I've been living here for quite some time. And one thing I can tell you for sure is that these people, the white people here that we are living with, there's one thing I've learned from them is the love they have for their country. If there is anything I've learned having stayed in Denmark, is how these people love their country. I'll give you a very small story. I always like having some stories that I can always relate. I remember when I was married to my ex-wife, that is 25 years ago, we had a mutual friend. And this lady had a boyfriend, and the boyfriend was the kind of person who was working handwork, and he would get hand jobs there, without paying the taxes. And guess what? One day the wife woke up and told this man that I've given you 3 months from now. If you don't get a job where you earn money and pay taxes at the same time, I'm going to divorce you, and that's going to be the end of you and me. Now, what am I bringing? I'm trying to show you how these people love their country. If only we loved our country just a little bit more, just comparing to them, we don't even have to compare ourselves to them, but just it shows you how deeply these people love their country. Now, that's one of the things that I loved. And the other thing that I've learned living here is how these people have been good at marketing their country. Oh, Europe is the best, Denmark is the best, USA. But when I came to live here, I realized that these countries are these are just words. These are people are just marketing their countries. How would you tell me that a country like Denmark that has no natural resources, has a lot of money, that it can even sustain countries that help us in uplifting our standards? Now, we are gifted by nature having a country like Uganda. We are the basket of the world economy. If only we think of bringing products like food, we can feed these countries for years. Now, talking about coffee, we have coffee. I grew up having coffee from my grandparents that I didn't even know how they planted it, how long it has been there. And we are just earning from those coffee plantations. It's like we are gifted in so many aspects. Now, coming back to how I formed this association, Coffee to the Nordics. One time I was walking in Denmark, next to Nørreport station, there is a very big known coffee shop. I entered the coffee shop and looked into all the coffee plantation they had, coffee shops, bags they were selling from different kind of countries. And to my dismay, Uganda was not among the coffee dealers they had. So I asked the lady politely who was selling, how comes we don't have Uganda among the coffee distributors? And she answered me, actually laughing, that Uganda is not known among the leading coffee producers in the world. And here we only sell top of the top. And I said, you must be kidding. He said, yeah, it's true. We don't. Uganda is not known, therefore we don't sell. We only sell the world coffee. And they had Colombia, they had Brazil, and Kenya was among them, Ethiopia was among them. So I told her that, you know what? To me, this is like you're opening up a rebellion against my country. Sometimes it is these gatekeepers who fight the country in a way that you don't even know. Because the moment they break you economically, then you don't have anywhere to go. So I was concerned, and I told her that I wanted to talk to the boss. And the boss confirmed that actually we don't sell Ugandan coffee because it's not known anywhere. And that's how I formed my association, Coffee to the Nordics. Now, the essence of this organization is not only to break the narrative that Uganda does not produce good coffee. I want to make sure that Uganda coffee is produced in the Nordics, is present in the Nordics, and let the public be the judges. Let them taste the coffee and taste the aroma, other than these gatekeepers blocking our coffee to the society. Actually, what I realized that they get our coffee due to the fact that our coffee has a lot of good aroma, and then they mix it to the current market that they already have, and then they sell it out to the public. And the people think that they are drinking Colombian coffee, Brazilian coffee, or Kenyan or Ethiopian coffee, whereas actually it is Ugandan coffee that is being blended and being sold to the market. So that is the shortest way I could say that was one of the pushing point that pushed me to come and be part of this global market. And I put it upon myself that it is my obligation to be among those that are going to make sure that coffee reaches the common person. And I'm not only looking at rubbing shoulders with the big boys in the company, in the business. Of course, I don't have that much money to do that. But my game here is to make sure that cafes, they get our coffee. We have shops where people can walk in and out and buy coffee. If it means going into business to business with any other person who is interested in dealing with coffee, we are going to do that. And that can only be done with someone who has passion for the country. You are not going to expect anyone from Europe who is born and raised here, who is only looking at earning money, to do that for you. So that was one of the reasons as to why I said, you know what, I need to offer myself and be part of this to make sure that coffee, Ugandan coffee, is present in every shop here in Denmark and the Nordics. So that was a little bit of introduction about myself. Mukwano Sara.
Wow. Okay, I know you wear very many hats because we've hosted you here several times before as a Euroforum UG. Yeah, but starting from that, since we have a very long conversation, ever since we told people we're going to talk about coffee, people are sending in the questions, the worries, and very many things. So we're going to have a great conversation. So if we can start from that point, because you said our coffee
Yes, please.
is not as visible. So what do you think that the Ministry of from the statistics that the Ministry of Agriculture gives us, it shows that Europe is one of our biggest markets. So what can government do? What can someone in diaspora do? Because you can't be the only one doing it. What can we do to make sure our coffee is more visible in the European market, in your own view and perspective?
Thank you, Nyago. There was a little bit of, I didn't understand the question quite well, but let me try to answer for as much as I got it, because you were skipping some of the words. Now, the government did quite a good job trying to break up the middleman. And so doing that, it gave the capacity to the farmers like me, like anyone who is listening, who is dealing with cotton, with coffee directly. They gave us the ability to come and sell on the wider market. Now that can only give the chance to the person who is selling the coffee with another name, the ability to continue doing that kind of job. Now, if you want if we want to market the coffee, the Ugandan coffee, on a wider perspective, on a global market with the Ugandan name, then we need someone with the passion of the country. That is according to my optical view. Until we have the ability to come and rub shoulders with these people, coffee is going to be looked at as a way of earning money. So what these people are doing, they cannot cheat the farmer. The farmer, actually, we get approximately 90% of the market, because coffee is very easy. You cannot cheat me. I can see to the market, according to the stock exchange, I can see exactly how much Robusta is costing today, how much Arabica is costing. And when we talk about screens, you can see that screen 18 is at this amount, screen 15 is at this, screen 12 is at. So there is nothing we can cheat in that perspective. So what the government did now, it gave the farmer the energy to sell the coffee, but then again, the coffee is not visible on the world market as Ugandan product. Because, as I said, we have these big farmers who already have their ways of selling coffee. They already have established their market. And that market is still demanding, I need Colombian coffee, I need Brazilian coffee, I need Kenyan coffee, I need Ethiopian coffee. So in order to fulfill that demand, they will go and buy the Ugandan coffee and continue mixing it with their coffee in order to continue marketing continue feeding their needs. So that's where I come in as a Ugandan. And I say, no, this has to stop. We need the people to taste our coffee and let them be the judge. I hope my answer answers your question.
Yeah, but like you said, I think you had not gotten my question so well. I was asking, because now from what you're telling me is that our coffee is not as visible in the European market, right?
Exactly. You're very clear now. I can hear you.
Yeah, and then from what the Ministry of Agriculture tells us is that Europe is one of our biggest markets. So it means most of our coffee actually comes to Europe.
Yeah.
So here my question is, what can be done? Because yes, you're doing some work to make sure our coffee is being seen, but what more can be done by government, by our Ugandans who are living there, as the farmers who are on ground? What can we do to make sure our coffee is more visible on the European market so that when someone takes coffee, they know, no, this is coffee from the Mount Elgon of Uganda. This is coffee from a farmer in Butambala in Uganda. What can be done?
According to my opinion, as I said, this may hurt most of the farmers. But what we need to do as a country is to have the government take off the responsibilities of the coffee, as we used to have in the 70s. What we used to see in the 70s was that Ugandan Coffee Marketing Board used to buy all the coffee. So it was the Uganda Marketing Board that was selling directly to the Danish Marketing Board, to the Danish farmers. And if it comes to that level of understanding, then it becomes a prohibited asset that you cannot just change the logo. Then there are rules guiding that kind of product. If it is the Ugandan Coffee Marketing Board that is selling as an entity, rather than a farmer from Butambala, from Umbali, from everywhere to come and search for their market here. And that is what is happening until we have an organization that is going to sit and talk directly to the people buying coffee and tell them these are the rules. If you want to buy the Ugandan coffee, this is what we are demanding. Until then, Ugandan coffee is not going to be visible. Yes, we are going to sell the coffee. Yes, we are going to earn money, but we are not going to be appreciated for what we are producing as a country. And as you said, indeed, coffee tastes different according to the area where it has been grown. Now we are gifted with the weather. We are assured of the weather every year. There is enough rain, there is enough sunshine. Now we can see what happened to Colombia when they have the disaster. We see what is happening in Brazil. We are gifted that we are not, God has not punished us to that extent. So we still have all the possibilities of producing the farmers, or producing the coffee as requested, as needed on the world market. All we need to do, to sum up when you going back on your question, all we need to do is to have the government initiatives, the government taking over the responsibilities of the coffee, in that it is the Ugandan government that is selling out the coffee, not individual farmers. That will limit every individual, but then again, it will boost the product on a world market. That is a personal point of view. I'm not a specialist in this area, but at least I can see that is what that can be done, at least.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think if our government officials are watching, they will pick and know. Though I think government is trying to do a bit of marketing, only that I think the people who are marketing the coffee maybe, and the farmers down there who want to bring their own coffee, I think they need to coordinate and all work together. Yeah, but I think I get your point, and I hope if any government official is watching, they will try to push and see that our coffee is more visible in not only the European market but all over the world. Okay, so
just to add on that,
I know you talked about this. Yes.
There were seminars. There are different seminars organized on this particular topic. How are we going to market the coffee on a wider market? And I happened to have attended one of the seminars, which was organized in Munyonyo some time back on the 17th, actually 2024, December. I was there, I attended, and we are also attending. I just had a meeting with the chairman of the Ugandan Coffee Association, Mr. Robert Vyaruhanga. So we are trying to engage with whoever is concerned. But as you know, it needs more than just individuals. We need to sit with the people, the concerned government partners on this very topic. And we say, how are we going to uplift these standards? You see, we've tried at least on a personal level, but we need the engagement of the government from now on, if at all we are going to take over this. Because it's not a personal issue, it is quite beyond our limits as individuals and lovers of the coffee farmers. Yes, please.
Wow. So this brings me to the next question. What trends do you think are shaping the coffee market globally? The trends, what are some of the trends that are shaping the coffee market?
No, actually,
So that the people who are...
Excuse me? Say that again.
I'm saying, what do you think are shaping the coffee market globally, so that if someone is interested in this coffee business, what can they pick? What are the trends now?
It is the transparency. When you're dealing with coffee, there is that transparency that you know exactly what you are buying and what you're going to sell and how much you are going to earn. If anything doesn't go wrong, like a disaster, anything, you know exactly what you're going on. It's the kind of business that is more safer to deal in than any other business. If you're buying it directly from the farmer, or you are the real farmer who wants to sell it abroad, everything is streamlined. The market is out. The products are there. All we need is just to cut the narrative of Uganda not being one of the best. You know, we just need this to come down to everyone, to the local people, to the consumers, to the exporters, that when you're buying Ugandan coffee, it has to be Ugandan coffee. You're not going to market it. Once we have that in place, then we don't have any challenges facing us, because the market is open for everyone to see. So whoever is buying to you knows exactly how much you've bought it, and they know exactly how much you're earning. So it's not about earning so much. It's just earning penny cents. And the problem we are facing is that we are rubbing shoulders with big boys who have a lot of money. They will come and buy exactly as you are doing, and they will continue doing what they are doing, repackaging and selling. That's where we need the intervention of the government. That are, if at all we want this to continue, the government has to intervene, and there has to be rules and regulations to follow the coffee.
Okay, so especially the European market, we've seen some of the challenges like the traceability, and some of our farmers don't know those things. Coffee, like price shocks and etc. So, what are some of the challenges that you people who are selling our coffee face in the market? What are some of the challenges?
I don't think there is any challenge, because of course there could be some challenges, but anyone who has a smartphone can see what is happening. Our farmers have graduated to that extent. They can see exactly. I don't think that that challenge is still visible, because there is no farmer nowadays that cannot access the world market on their phone. So the information is out there. You don't have to be, no one is going to fool you. Everything is in transparent. You don't have any fear. There's no worry. The business is open. So I don't see any challenge actually whatsoever. The only challenge that can be there is when we have a natural catastrophe that can happen. Say, for example, that we have been seeing in Mbali, in Bugisu, the floods that can affect our coffee. Then, of course, that of course affects the annual import. As we can see what is happening in other countries like Brazil and Colombia, not having rain, we don't have all those problems. At least we are safe as far as natural resources are concerned. So I don't see any challenge actually facing our coffee. Probably, if someone has any, they can tell us what are the challenges they are facing. But I don't really see I don't see any to prohibit us from penetrating the market.
I actually think you've not lived in Uganda for a while, because our farmers, first of all, now like a farmer in Mbale or in, I think Ankole has also started planting coffee. I'm not so sure about it, but some of those people don't even have smartphones. They don't even know who buys their coffee. Their role is just to plant the coffee, sell it to the people who can buy it, and then they don't even have a smartphone. They don't even know where their coffee ends up. So they're just there. They don't really know some of those basics. But well, it's okay. So maybe taking you to the conversation that has been ongoing for the past, I think, 2 weeks or 1 week, especially this last week, the sovereignty bill. I don't know if you've heard about it.
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah,
I've heard
so
about it a bit.
Yeah, so you, as someone who is selling our coffee, are you worried that it's going to affect you?
Yeah, first and foremost, I'll have to be sincere with you that for the last 25 years, over 25 years, I've not lived in Uganda for over a month. So you're right on that. I don't know exactly what is happening on the ground. I must be sincere about that. And I'm not going to be the one telling people all the problems. So I truly believe that there could be some challenges that are happening that I really don't know. And it's not because I don't know what is happening, because I know that there can be some problems hindering people from having all these problems. But then again, when I remember my childhood growing up in Uganda, I remember that the best thing, we used to have people selling coffee, and when those coffee periods used to come, seasons, people would go and buy, we used to call them Mwanyi Zabala. The people, you would see the changes. That is when ladies used to have new clothes, the men would buy motorcycles, what and so on. I mean, it was visible that now we are in the season of the coffee. What am I trying to say? That the government need to take back the responsibilities of the coffee and say, we are buying the coffee to you, and this is the price, as it used to be in the old ways, other than giving every individual, the right to go and sell. Because what happens is that we don't have control over the coffee. Yes, please.
Okay, so okay, as taking you back to the sovereignty bill, but
Yeah, yes,
we'll
please.
come back to it after the break. But
You,
maybe
you asked me about it if
me,
I was
okay, I'm
worried.
well versed.
If you
No,
ask me if I
someone
was worried,
actually
of
talked
course,
about
I'm worried. I'm worried about that bill.
a
Reason being,
foreigner.
I'm not, because I
Uh,
still have some existence back home. I had a house in Kauku that was stolen by some members, and I don't know whatever is left, if it is going to be valid. So I don't know that. And then I have a house, I have my mother's house that I built for her. I have my father's house that is still there. So the question is, do I have a family when I come back home? I even heard that some of us who are living here, we are no longer, I mean, we are countryless. So I don't know where we belong. So the country is really, the bill has shaken us, everyone in wherever we are. So everyone is concerned.
You're worried about your nationality. You might come back and you're not Ugandan.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
of course
but
that leaves
we'll
me,
come
of course,
to
countryless.
we'll come back to the bill later after the break. But before we go for the break, someone in the comment section asked, because you talked about government, you proposed that if government can be central to be the one to bargain for market, maybe in Europe, etc. So this person was worried because when government comes in, it becomes a problem. I don't know if you followed the UCDA rationalization. People were complaining this and that. So I think someone who was, the question is, let me read it verbatim. With the world businesses largely liberalized, enable me understand this issue where a product like coffee is then centralized and managed by government as you proposed. So I think you explain it to him further so that he understands it.
Now, the
Because
essence
I think he's
of
worried if government takes over, it would be a challenge.
the government of the process of the government being the central initiator of buying all the coffee gives us the ability to come and rub shoulders with these people and tell them on a government level that this is what we want our coffee to be this is how we want our coffee to be marketed. Because what they are doing, the Ugandan coffee, Uganda is earning a lot of money from the coffee, but we are lacking recognition. Now, if we all love our country, just as I told you the story I gave you about how people love their country, how they are selling the narrative of this place being the best, whereas the reality is it is the immigrants, the immigrants, who are keeping these standards, or the standards of this country. Now, if we take back that kind of love to our own country and ask ourselves, how are we going to promote the Ugandan coffee in the world market? It is by the government intervening, giving the proper right price to the farmers, as it is doing right now, because right now a farmer will earn 90% of the world market. If they say the kilo of the coffee is 3.4, that is 3.4, then a farmer is going to get 3.2 or 3.1, such that all the money goes directly to the farmer. And that can still be done by the government. The government doesn't have to earn a lot of money out of this, because it is there to sustain the people, to help the people reach out to the world market. By so doing, the farmer will still getting the amount of money that they have been getting all along. But then again, the government will emphasize that the Ugandan coffee is not being hidden or being repackaged by other people as they are doing right now. So that is the only instance of the intervention of the government, not to break out the farmers, but to make it easier. And then if it is the government buying, when it realizes, for example, that right now Colombia is producing this amount, those big boys that we are rubbing shoulders with, we can even hold and not sell it at that particular time, because we are a government entity that we are talking about. And then come out by the time when there is a low season, and then we say we are selling ours at this time. That can only be done by the government, by intervention of the government. But as I said, this is just a personal opinion. I'm not saying I'm the well advanced knowing about the Ugandan coffee. As I said, I was in the seminar with Dr. Muhumuza, I think, who had made a paper on this, and he said he was well versed when it came to Ugandan coffee, all the way from the produce to the export and everything. I'm not well versed to that extent, but I'm telling you what what I've realized so far with my own opinion.
Okay, though also in my opinion, because I've written about the sector for some time, for like 3 years now, and from what I can tell you, especially what people were worried about, because UCDA was the authority that was in charge of marketing our coffee, finding out how these farmers are doing, etc. So when they rationalized it, the worry of the people was, you see, the Ministry of Agriculture is already overwhelmed. They have the fisheries, they have the animals, they have these other crops, so they're already overwhelmed. So if you now tell them, take over the coffee, it would be a challenge. That's in my view also. So government, like the ministry which is in charge of coffee, is the Ministry of Agriculture. I think it would be overwhelmed. And I think the people who are selling coffee at an individual level, they're really doing good. Because when you see the report, you'll see how much these people are exporting. So individuals come to Europe, to USA, they identify a market. They come back to Uganda, identify farmers. This one, and this one, they have a big farm of coffee, they have this and this. So they make sure they help them. They help them harvest the coffee, they help them prepare the coffee, brand it. I don't know the processes, but they help them get the coffee to the standards of the market. So they sell the coffee to the markets at an individual level. But when you say government takes over, it might not be a good story. But
Thank
that's
you
a
for
story.
that. When
It's
I
a
say the
story.
government's intervention is needed, I don't mean the government directly to come. I'm a Ugandan. I can still represent my government here. I can still have the coffee sent and sold through me to the public. And so we have other people doing in other regions of the world. We have people in US, we have people in England, we have people in every corner of the Uganda. Everywhere you go, you find a Ugandan who is dedicated and love their country. We have such individuals in each and every place. So these people can as well do the same job, and they can be accountable. All we need is to make sure that the Ugandan coffee is present in those regions. That's all we need from those people. Now, to tell you more about my findings, you know that Ugandan coffee, Robusta in particular, has the biggest aroma. Now, you could imagine that Robusta sells approximately 8.4 to 8.7 millions bags, you see, annually. That tells you that there is something these people are doing. They're utilizing our Robusta coffee to boost up the other coffee to get the aroma they want. So these findings are there. The only way we can cut them off is to have these individuals that can work, have the love of the country, look at the farmers, remember where they came from, remember what brought them up. It is coffee that educated us to where we are today. So until we have the love for the country, we are not going to prosper. And that is the only thing that I think is lacking. That we need to break up these people who are just doing it for the sake of business, who have no attachments to the country at all. Because what they need is to see the figures growing. So that is the what we need to break, that line there. How do we do that? That's when we need the intervention of the government.
Okay, so I think we'll have a short break and we'll come back. Thank you for everyone who is watching us. We are talking about coffee, which is our traditional crop back here in Uganda. It's the second export earner, and that's after gold, which is now like the leading. So coffee is one of our biggest export earners here in the country. So it's so important because very many people, like Mr. Kalyango said, we still have families that entirely depend on this coffee. We still have people who run coffee shops, and they're also entirely depending on this coffee. So coffee is a very, very important crop back here in Uganda. We earn money from it, so that means when we earn that money, it can be used to build hospitals, to make the roads better. But we'll talk about that in the next part after the break. Let's break out. We come back and we also talk about a sovereignty bill. If you're out there and you want to trade coffee to the country where you're staying, are you a foreigner? Will you be buying it as a foreigner? How does this sovereignty bill affect you? I'll give you just some of the things in the bill that you should know. Thank you. Let's break out and we'll come back shortly.
Abanga bange abanga bange mukoni mbalabe mukoni mbutu kale munyenye mbalabe munyenye lwato asinda bagenda wala kasokumanya musinze gusinze musinze bafe musinze gusinze musinze musota musajja usemakula mutabani wampu. Ensonga nyingi ezinnetera okwenyumiriza mu byobuwangwa byezibukamu zibuka mu bakabaka ba Buganda ewa Ssaabasajja Muwenda Mutebi. Eyo gy'osanga abantu ab'empisa ennungi abaaniriza kabeere muyise tubolaba buli ggwanga tubeera nalyo tukola nabo tugonga nabo ebituzanyoza tuzinira wamu so nga n'ebitunyiza nabyo tukalira wamu. Kabaka waffe ke kabonero akalaga nti Katonda ne Buganda omwoyo gumube gulimira kabaka wange Muwenda Mutebi yali eyo emengo temunenya kuyimba kanyimbe ate oba omwana wa Mutesa alamula banange nyindi.
Wow, welcome back from that short break. Yeah, like you are seeing on the screen.
We can't hear you.
Really? Welcome back. You can hear me now?
Yes, Sarah, I was saying we can't hear you, please.
Wow, I don't know now what the problem is.
Yeah, now you are on.
Okay, so as I was saying, welcome back from the short break. That was the Kabaka run. As you all know, our Kabaka, His Majesty, His Royal Highness, I think that's how they say it, was born in April. So here in Uganda, we ran earlier in April, just a day before his birthday. And yeah, we continue to pray for him, that may God protect him for us and keep him for us. Yeah, so I hope all the Baganda, wherever you are, you're proud of our heritage. Even though you're soon becoming foreigners, but you have our names.
Yeah.
You have our names. So either way, you're our people. When we find you, You still have our language. You still speak Luganda. So even when you become foreigners in future.
Now, whatever happens, we are still native by nature. So,
You're still Baganda, yeah.
yeah, we are.
But
We are.
mm, but the bill, I hope each of you tries to read this bill. I don't know if you have a copy, but if you don't have, you will get our numbers and we can share. Though they've been making amendments, it has been making a lot of debates. We've seen people talk about it. The Bank of Uganda came out and spoke about it. The lawyers talked about it, the students, everyone. They were complaining, especially for the remittances that come back to Uganda, because the new law, if the bill is actually approved and put into law, the remittances will be affected, the money that comes into Uganda, if you want to invest back home. So it has a lot of clauses that you need to read and understand. How are you affected? Because I know people are debating about it, but very few people understand what does the bill say. And if all goes well and our boss, Mr. Mugisha, gives us a chance, we can have a conversation about the sovereignty bill and how people are affected. But if you're selling coffee, the good news is you're not affected by this bill. No. Agriculture is not affected, and some of these other sectors. So back to our coffee conversation. The sovereignty bill will be coming in once in a while. I'll be explaining to you as someone who is selling coffee, as a Ugandan who is living abroad, some of the things that are touching you as a person. Yeah, but back to our coffee conversation. And maybe to give you a bit of statistics, the latest report from the Ministry of Agriculture shows that the latest, which is for the month of February, it shows that in February we exported 651,060 kilo bags of coffee, and these were valued at 660 billion Ugandan shillings at an average price. The average price we see it was 4 US dollars per kilogram. Yeah, 4 to 5 US dollars per kg. And Europe was our biggest market. And we see Robusta Chivoko was at 5,700 Ugandan shillings per kilogram. Then Arabica was at 15,000 per kg. Druga at 14,500 Ugandan shillings per kg. But these statistics are always online, so you can always check them up. Yeah, like I said, coffee is our second export earner here in Uganda, so it makes it a very, very important conversation because most of us feed on this coffee. Our grandfathers are still stuck with this crop because when you go back to our villages, our grandfathers are still planting the crop. Some of our parents inherited it, so we are still in the coffee business, and I don't think it's about to stop because coffee, when you look at statistics of exports, for the 40 years I think NRM has been in government. I'm younger than that, but I traced back up to 40 years. But you see, coffee has tried to stay in market. Other things get out, but coffee has stayed. Gold has come up, I think, in the last 2 years, but before coffee was the largest export earner. So you see, coffee is so important. For the last 40 years, each year we've exported coffee. So that's how important coffee is. Yeah, so back to you, Mr. Kalyango. Let's talk about coffee in the European market. Uh, you said we don't have challenges, But where do you see our coffee in maybe the next 3-4 years? How is our coffee going to perform? Are we going to maintain the market, or when the big boys come in, we are going to keep going down? How do you see our Ugandan coffee in the European market 3 to 5 years?
My goal, I think this would be like a national goal. Right now, I look at coffee that is not contributing directly to our GDP. It is only between 3 to 4% of our GDP, which is approximately 1 to 2 billions. So if the market of coffee is if coffee is marketed at a better place, as I was saying previously, we will see that coffee is contributing quite well on our GDP. And that has to be the goal. Because if any country really had a crop that is making that amount of money, they would have done everything to market it to the fact that it becomes, as you say, it has been stable for the last 40 years. And indeed, it has. As I was also saying previously, that we are gifted with the fact that we have the weather that is always on our side. We have the sunshine, the fact that we have the equator. It helps us that the weather is always on our side. We've been so lucky about that. So we just need to market this crop to the locals. As I said, here in Europe, you find people drinking coffee during weddings, drinking coffee during funerals, drinking coffee on a date, such that coffee needs to change. We need to run away from the narrative of our former bosses, the England, and bring back coffee to our lifestyle, because coffee is actually more healthier than the tea and everything. So we need to go back to that, and we need to put more emphasis in marketing this product that is always there and has always been there for us. That is the only way we are going to uplift our income and the GDP. It will contribute a lot to our GDP. So that's what I can say. In 4 to 5 years, I would like to see coffee being one of the best way we earn extra export, international income. If it comes through coffee, then I'll be delighted to be to have contributed a little bit on that.
Wow. Wow, thank you so much for that.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you. You must have muted again.
Muted. Wow. You can hear me now?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so thank you for that explanation, and I hope we are all praying that our coffee keeps on, our volumes keep on improving, especially in our European market, because I think that Europeans understood the coffee. Unlike us back home, we plant the coffee, but we don't drink the coffee. We only sell the coffee. We are not used to coffee. I think we are not coffee people. We don't take it, though we plant it. Actually, this brings the question, what can be done to improve our consumption back home? Because we don't drink the coffee. I think it's a foreign thing. What can you advise the Ugandans back home to improve their consumption of coffee? Maybe we don't know what are some of the advantages.
Yeah, but as I say, we are always good at copying the Western world in whatever they are doing. So let's try to understand that I can invite a lady on a date and drink a cup of coffee. That is how much they can naturalize it. And let's understand that the best way to wake up in the morning is by having a cup of coffee. You see people like George Clooney advertising for coffee, then that tells you that this product is actually on the high level. It is where it's supposed to be. So people need to know that drinking a cup of coffee while holding a meeting like this, it is something that is not ruled down at, but is something that is advisable in order to keep you running and being present at the meeting. So people need to know the importance of drinking coffee. And of course, we know all this. A trend comes out today in Europe, and tomorrow it will be in Africa and Uganda. So why not look at these, the good sides of the coffee, how we utilize it here. So the same can apply back home, and we can still market it and tell people that, it's okay to drink coffee. Now, in one of my remarks, the way I wanted to work with the coffee, I'm looking at opening up a shop where, as I said, I want to be business to business person, but I'm also looking at working in conjunction with people I have friends from Ethiopia. Now that their culture is embedded within the coffee, I would like to open up a cafe that is going to be, we will have Ugandan coffee in the shops, but they will be serving Ugandan coffee as well in the cafe. So there is quite a lot of things that we want to do with coffee, and that can as well be done back home. That people, exclusive places has to have Ugandan coffee on the table. It has to be everywhere as you go, as you walk in. You need to smell the aroma of the coffee whenever you go anywhere to do with Ugandan. In every event, we need to have a Ugandan coffee.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, so maybe going a little bit to the bill, like I told you, I'll be explaining to you if you're in coffee business so that you know where you fall in this bill. So the bill, the sovereignty bill, as it is now, because the MPs are in a retreat and we hope they'll maybe change some of the things or decline it. You never know, they might say, since everyone is rejecting the bill, let's just leave it out. But maybe, number one, if you're a farmer, a coffee farmer here in Uganda, you grow your coffee, you sell to your local buyers or to exporters, you're not affected by the bill. If you're in coffee business, you're selling this coffee to someone, even if it's abroad, you're still not affected. So the people that are affected by the bill as it is now, if the coffee project is funded by money from abroad, then here that's where the conversation now changes, because that will be regarded as foreign funding in the bill as it is now. So if you're getting money from someone who is abroad, because we see that even you Ugandans who are out, you might be foreigners in the near future. So if you're funding a coffee project, that might be regarded as foreign funding, and the person who is receiving the money, you're regarded as an agent of a foreigner. So you're receiving money from abroad. So here you need to register, and then you need approval from government to even the cabinet level. So for now, I think that's how the bill can be explained for someone who is in coffee business. So back to you, Mr. Kalyango, on our coffee. As we come to a close, maybe we'll have like 2-3 questions before we close. But if you're watching us out there and you have a question that you think can be addressed by Mr. Kalyango or myself, I'm also not an expert, but I've been in this coffee thing for like 3 years, so I know most of the things, especially what government is doing, where we are exporting to, some of these figures, how have we performed like for the last 40 years. I have those figures, so you can send in your questions and we'll be able to reply to those that we are able to. Yeah, so back to you, Mr. Kalyango. Our coffee, especially in Europe, we know certifications are important and all these other things. But which of our coffee comes to Europe? Is it the green coffee, the raw one, roasted? Is it packaged? Which coffee comes to Europe, our coffee? So that we know some of the challenges that are back home. Is it value added?
Thank you for that question. I think the problem here is that when you're dealing with a country, for example, like Denmark, Norway, and Sweden, they need to emphasize that whatever is coming here is on the market of the standards of the people. Now, many people think that it's easy just to get the coffee and come and sell it here directly to the market in Europe. But anything to do with the product that is going to be consumed, should anyone get sick, then you are going to be entitled. They will go as far as telling you that we need the soil from where you planted this coffee in order to be examined and see, did you utilize some of the products that are not utilized, are not allowed on the world market? So we need to be very attentive with that. Let's try to use our agents who are already in the business and know the rules and the laws of the government that governs the government where they are living. We should not be so much eager to sell the coffee. Otherwise, you may end up paying the repercussion that can be so heavily on you as an individual. So as that said, we need to be attentive in how we go in the business of coffee, such that they don't come and penalize us so heavily that we can't even survive. So those are some of the issues that we have to be attentive. Could you please repeat the question once again? Because I had noted that down before coming to this.
So my question was, because I wanted to know, because the president of recent has been pushing for value addition, even these other government institutions, value addition, add value.
Exactly.
Even the Uganda kingdom, the Katikiro, has told people, because before it was a Mwaniterimba, but I've forgotten the campaign, but they've been telling people add value to your coffee.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know our coffee, which of our coffee comes? Is it the value added one, or it's the coffee that is without the value?
Yeah, but as I was saying, now that we have a mediator who's trying to sell the coffee abroad in their names, so they get our coffee home that already had the value added, and then they repackage it. But what benefits our country and the people back home would be selling the coffee that is already had the value, such that we have people who are doing the marketing, who are doing all the other work that needs to do with the roasting and everything. We need to do that before we sell it out. We have the capacity to sell the coffee as required and needed to the market, the European market. But sometimes the trick behind the coffee and the aroma and everything lies behind the roasting process. So some of the roasters, some of the countries would rather have the coffee being roasted here, because that's when they add in all the tricks that they don't want to reveal to you. Because once they do that, then you are going to compete with them. So we find some other places that they don't want to disclose their roasting methodologies. But then again, on the Ugandan government, because as I said, we need to love our country before anything. So we need to make sure that some people are selling the products, those who have the products, and some people are adding value to the products before it comes out to the market. Now, if you want to do other things besides that will be the only way we are going to market our product, well knowing that it's already packaged back home. It's already packaged back home, and we can already sell it with the Ugandan label, because that's where we want, and that's what we want. And that's how we are going to keep the market intact without being changed within the aroma and everything. So the only thing we can do is still just maintain the market, the standard. Add value, bring it out and sell it.
Okay. So this brings me to a question from the comments. Someone is asking, Mr. Kalyango, I have my fellow entrepreneurs who add value on the coffee. How can we promote? I think it's asking about promotion. I already have my coffee with value and everything. If I'm to start getting market in Europe, where do I start from? Where do I sell my coffee to? Who buys our coffee? I think it's what he wants to know.
Now I have already a market. I have a market in, I'm also selling coffee all the way to Turkish. I'm not only looking at the Ugandan market and the Nordics here. I have also a broader market all the way to Turkey. And I need approximately 80 to 120 annually. That is for starters. So the market is there, the market is big, you cannot even do anything to take it away. So when we finish this, you can give some of them my contacts. But already what I have is more than big, it's massive. The market is there. And I can't even tell you that whatever I'm giving you, this is just a little bit of what I can do. The market is there. The need of our quality coffee, Ugandan coffee, is there. And we can sell it at anyone you want because the market is there. I have the people waiting already for me just to give them a good price and the business will start.
Wow.
The European market is pending, but I also have already penetrated all the way to Turkey, where I have all this. And I'm also working in conjunction with a partner. So I'm not alone in this, whereas I own 70% of my company. So I have a 20% to my partner, and I have also 10% that I've given out to Ugandan counterpart, Julius and Kiza, and I have another partner called Mohammed Jalid, who is also here, a Somali Ugandan, based here but married to someone who is from Turkey. And through those contacts, I managed to get to the distributors of coffee in Turkey, and they are the one who gave me those requirements. So the market is big as I can tell you.
Wow. I think whoever is watching, and if you are asking about how you can promote your coffee, you can reach out to Mr. Kalyango. We are going to share his number as the show comes to an end, but still you can take our contact, which is running down on your screen. You can have our contact and you can reach out to us. Maybe, and also, let me also say this, there are some people who have tried to sell coffee to some of these people and have been robbed. And I know, Mr. Kalyango, you also told me your experience before you got your foot stable on the ground. The middlemen who will tell you, no, I can sell your coffee, I know who, but they will steal you. So make sure you know the person you're trading with. Yeah, but also when you reach out to us, I think I can also share, because I know government is also doing a lot in marketing our coffee. Then also I think Persaid, which is led by the president's son-in-law, Mr. Rawogo. I know they've opened some of these markets, especially now, like in Serbia, in New York, some in Europe. I think we have one in London. So that those places. So you can reach out. I think if you're in coffee business, you can always reach out to us and we can share some of those contacts or locations where you can find a Ugandan who is in coffee business, so that you make a network. So yeah. So Mr. Kalyango, as we come to the end of our show, I want to ask, what are some of the barriers? Of course, we know now people want our coffee, so the market is there. That's assured. And then we are also planting the coffee back home, so the coffee is also there. But what are some of the barriers that are preventing our coffee to come as much as it can? What are some of these barriers that you can tell
Some
us?
of the
Perception, price, what are some of the barriers?
The barriers, as I said, it is competing with the big boys, as I already mentioned. These are some of the problems that I cannot go through. They cannot channel. You have no way out. And as I said, as you also mentioned, we all know the price of coffee, and we know exactly how much we are paying a farmer. Now, these people, if you're dealing with someone with a lot of money, I'm not among those. I'm just me, as you see, so much, I don't hold much. But if you're working against someone who can, now I can only afford 80 to 120 a year. And now we are talking about people who can afford that in a month. So they will go as low as earning 10 cents per kilo. When exactly at the end of the day, they will sap you up and they will wrap you down out of the business. So we have the contacts. All we need is a small scope to the shoulder, and then we'll be there exactly. Because sometimes when we say that a business goals can always be reached by people who have the passion. But sometimes the passion alone is not enough. And when we are doing a business, sometimes we tend to oversee the people who have the capacity to do it due to their incapabilities, which can be financial. So until then, the government has to sit down, or the people concerned have to sit down and look at people who have the potential and the ability to do it, regardless of their financial status at the time, for as long as they can achieve and take on the responsibilities given to them. So until then, the challenges will still be there. But if we overlook all those current situations and look at the goals and look at their initial reasons as to why they are into business, and know that it's not only the money that is affecting their will, but there is passion and love, then we can achieve and meet our goals. As just to go back to my initial preamble, how these people try to move from where they were to where they are today, it's because of the love of the country that they had and they still have. So not until then, we will still be stagnating in the same place. We have a crop that is marketable. We are gifted by the weather. So all we need is to be there where we are supposed to be and do the right thing at the right time. Stop stealing, earn a little bit. It could be 1 cent, could be 10 cents. But if that's what you're supposed to earn that and work for the name. Let the rest do the job and it will come. As I told you earlier, even off camera, I told you that I've faced a lot of problems dealing with people, mostly Ugandan countrymen, and the atrocities I've faced, the dismays I've got, is unbelievable. So you reach an extent where you don't want to deal with people anymore. You feel like you just want to close everything to do with business. But that's what business is all about. You'll keep on failing and failing and failing. At the end of the day, one day, if you continue going, it is only those who continue pushing who will prosper at the end of the day. So that's where I am today. I've failed enough. It's now time to wake up and keep moving. And that goes for anyone who is also willing to come into the business. Before you learn to the right people, there will be lots of failures. But what makes you prosper into this business is to wake up again and keep moving.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Kalyango. And for anyone who has been watching us, thank you for joining us. I know we've not exhausted everything still as we come to the end of the show, but we'll have a part 2, we'll have a part 3, we'll have a part 4, because we know coffee is here with us and it's here to stay. So we're going to still have a conversation about coffee. And you can keep your questions coming in, you can keep your thoughts coming in. We'll keep addressing one by one as we go on. Yeah, so Mr. Kalyango, as we come to the close of the show, I know it's been a good show. We've both enjoyed. You had your coffee, unlike
Yes,
me
I
who
did.
had juice, but juice, we're also good at fruits, so I'm also not doing the wrong thing.
No, you're not in the wrong
Yeah,
place.
so what are some of your parting shots, maybe to a farmer down in Uganda, to someone who wants to join the trade? What are some of your parting shots, Mr. Kalyango?
Yeah, what I would emphasize with our farmers, In my preamble, I also mentioned that the people said Uganda is not listed among those countries that are producing good quality. Right away, I remembered how it was being young and we were being told to go and pick coffee. Because I remember my late Jaja in Chagwe, we would just take all the beans, ripe, unripe, everything would be out, and then we would go and take it out. Now, the contrary is seeing how these Colombians pick their coffee. They will not go and pick the right bean at the right time. So let's try not to focus on the volume, but let's try to emphasize on the quality of the coffee that we pick. If we do that, together, you and me, we are going to achieve our goal. Coffee at one time is going to be the direct earning of our GDP. It's going to be one of the only way that we earn money, that it goes directly to the local man. So I will emphasize that each and every one, you do your job correctly and at the right time. Pick only the beans that are ready to be picked. And of course, the roasting period and the drying season, everything has to be streamlined with the accordance to the law. If we emphasize that, have the love for the crop and the passion, then of course the market is going to hike. That was my on that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kalyango. I hope you enjoyed yourself on the show.
Yes, I did. As long as I was having my coffee, so everything was fine.
Yeah, unlike me, I was having juice. But yeah, this is our coffee. Yeah, I'm also not a coffee fan because it has its all myths. They say women are not supposed to take coffee.
Yeah, that is a narrative that has to have the confidence, a basing, because I see most women here, they love coffee like anything. So if women here can take coffee to that extent, why not women back home?
Wow. So next time I'll have
let's whoever says so come and prove it otherwise.
Yeah, we need someone to prove it to us. Yeah, but I think that's a wrong thing about coffee. Coffee is a good drink, and to everyone watching us right now and the people who are going to watch the show later, coffee is our story, and we cannot go without our story. So even if you're living abroad, even if you're living here in Uganda, even if you plan to go, coffee is our story. Every cup of coffee that you drink or promote, just know it's connecting you back home. So the question is, how can we all play a part to ensure that Uganda not only exports the coffee, but also builds a strong global brand? So that's what we are working towards, and that's why we have this conversation, to see that we are not only exporting coffee, but we are proud of the product and we make it become a global brand. We know last year we earned the biggest African exporter, and we're proud of that. But we'll keep this conversation going. If you want to start coffee, even if you want to plant it, even if you want to sell it, in whichever way you want to come in, this is our story. Always remember that when you take coffee, when you promote coffee, you're selling your country, you're selling your story. So before we close, Mr. Kalyango, if you don't mind, you'll please share your number with our viewers so that whoever wants to reach out to you, whoever wants to ask more questions, whoever wants to get in touch with you and also sell in Europe and Turkey, anywhere, they can reach out to you. So if you don't mind, please give us your contact details if someone wants to reach out to you.
Thank you very much on that. It has been a pleasure being hosted by you. As I could hear, you are also well versed about the product. It's always nice talking to someone who is dedicated into the business as you are. As requested, my contacts are down there, as you can see, it's running down on the screen as we talk. You can write a letter to me. I'll share my our producer, our CEO, Euroforum has all my contacts. So with all due respect, I would like to go through that way, because there's also a number of people that I can have and talk about it. Otherwise, it should not be so overwhelming. And we can do it that way, that Euroforum has my contacts and they'll share with you. So whoever wants to talk to me about coffee, strictly about coffee and the marketing into the Nordics, then we can talk about that. I'll be available for that, but not any other business until then. Thank you.
Was that a disclaimer? Because I know, okay, Ugandans and other people can be funny. Someone can get your number, they got it for coffee, and before you know it, they're telling you, my child has no school fees, please send me some.
I've been
I
there.
know Ugandans.
I've been there, and sometimes it's overwhelming. You reach an extent where I don't even want to answer a number and calls. And we have this family gathering WhatsApp number, and one is from the Ngo clan, because as you hear, I'm Kalyango, so I come from the Ngo clan. Oh, we have over 700, people, and sometimes it's overwhelming how many, individuals come into your inbox. So at the end of the day, I feel like I need to close this. And now again, if having all this also coming in the same manner, so it won't be fun anymore. So that's why I would prefer that it go through the Euroforum, and then we can talk if it is about business.
You should hire me as your PA, so that
I don't have that much.
Screen
don't have that much hiring someone as you. You seem to be expensive.
Yeah, so whoever is watching us, our contacts are running on the screen, so you can get our numbers and you reach out to us. We'll be able to connect you to Mr. Kalyango or any other person that we can help you with. So don't fear, just reach out to us and let's do business. But thank you for watching us, and like the conversation is going, and I would encourage each of you, if you're living abroad, make sure you follow this conversation of the sovereignty bill. Don't be left behind. Don't also start pushing things that are wrong. Make sure you are well versed with the bill so that you don't misinform. Or because if you're abroad and you call someone, by the way, this bill, so they will take your narrative. So make sure you know what you're talking about, you're well versed with the bill, follow the conversation, and know how does the bill affect you. Like I've told you, if you're in coffee, you're not in any way affected unless your coffee project is funded by money from abroad, and this is up to 400 million. There you'll need to register, you will need approval from government. That's up to 400 million and above. So make sure you read the bill, and if all goes well, I'm sure we'll have the sovereignty bill conversation so that we also make you understand what it says. Yeah. So thank you so very much for watching us. My name is Sarah Navakoza. I'm a proud, very proud journalist. Today is World Press Day, so I celebrate with anyone out there who shares information in its right form, not in misinforming people. And I work with the biggest media house back here in Uganda. I work with the New Vision. Yeah, so we tell the stories. Make sure you buy New Vision. Get your phone, look for e-papers, Vision Group, and make sure you read and know what's happening back home. Don't be left behind. So thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you.
I have something to say.
Okay.
Just last and foremost, I would like to say big up to the ambassador, Margaret Otasek, for the great job that she's doing, bringing the Nordics together. and trying to engage with us. She's doing quite a great job. I say salute you for that. And then, of course, Brenda, the marketing chief managing director of the coffee marketing in Uganda, Julian, our secretary, and then Mr. Robert Muumuza, who is the head of Farmers Association in Uganda for the coffee. These people are doing quite a great job that needs to be saluted. I say thank you all. It's been a pleasure being hosted by you, Sarah.
Okay, thank you so much. I also add on your voice to thank the ambassador, who is also my mother. Yeah, my mother, Ambassador Margaret Acheskov. She's a very good woman. I've worked with her before and I can also testify. She's really doing an amazing job. Yes, so thank you for watching us, and we hope to see you next Sunday. Keep your questions coming in, keep your comments coming in. We'll all be here to get back to you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Euroforum UG, where we address Ugandans from Europe, USA, Asia, Africa, Australia, and all over the globe. We share experiences, opinions, and expertise on current affairs, educative lifestyle, religion, and family matters. Follow, subscribe, and like our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Euroforum UG. You can also join our live shows every weekend on our social media platforms. For more information, visit our social media platforms or email us at euroforumug@gmail.com or WhatsApp us on +4740 574040. Euroforum UG, communicating with peers.